Meanwhile, Belgium's former Prime Minister and current prominent European parliamentarian Guy Verhofstadt agrees with the UK's position of waiting for the report of the United Nations inspectors now in Syria. He told CCTV's Jack Barton that if the UN doesn't cover evidence of chemical weapons use, a Security Council deadlock should not stand in the way of military strikes.
Well, I think when there is evidence of the use of chemical weapons in Syria, it's obvious that action is needed by the international community. But I think it's better that it is a unified position of the European Union, and not what we have seen in the case of Iraq. Huge divergence of positions inside the Union, not what we have seen in Libya, where Britain and France were in favor of an operation and where Germany was against it. So I think if there is evidence of the use of chemical weapons, then I don't see any reason why there should not be one position of the European Union.
But should the European Union's position be backed by the UN, and if so, should it go through the UN Security Council?
Yeah, when it is possible to have a resolution of the Security Council, that's the best way to go forward. But it's also possible that there is still this obstacle of the vote of the Russians and maybe even the Chinese. And I don't think that we can continue like we have done the last 2 years. There are today more than 90,000 deaths in Syria. There are 1.7 million of refugees outside Syria, and there is more and more evidence that he is using now chemical weapons against his own citizens.
So what would you see as the time frame for action? When does this need to be done?
Normally, Ban Ki-moon have asked now for 4 days to conclude on for the inspectors. Once this conclusion is there, I think action is needed, and the best way to go forward is to establish the fastest as possible a non-fly zone.
Aren't you at all concerned that this, a Western intervention could broaden the conflict, especially given the comments by Iran that Western intervention
broaden the conflict? The conflict is already there. Already 2 years I am asking for an intervention of the international community.